Hi guys, I'm Rebecca. So I don't know if you probably have seen this whole trend going around where people are talking about red flags. So today we're addressing red flags, and we're not addressing it from the typical standpoint. We're not talking about the red flags that you spot in your boyfriend or your girlfriend or that toxic friend that you want to cut off. No, we are talking about your red flags. Yep. I think in the spirit of accountability, of the year winding down, of growth and development, like I talked about in my last video, sometimes we are quick to hold other people accountable, but we also need to hold ourselves accountable and spot the areas within our own lives and within our own character that we need to kind of spruce up or fine tune or improve on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, the red flags that you have that you need to work on, and this video also applies to me. So the first red flag we're going to talk about is self-sabotage, and I'm talking about this first because it's a big one, especially when you admit to yourself or you come to the realization that the only person that is stopping you from reaching your goals and achieving what you set out to achieve is yourself. And self-sabotage can take shape or take form in like small things, like saying you're going to exercise when you get home. I've done this, and then instead of exercising you find a new series to watch on Netflix. It can be as simple as you set out a goal to eat better, and then you come home and you're really hungry, there's no food in the fridge. I've done this week actually, and you order for like Uber Eats or delivery because it's convenient, because it's available. I think self-sabotage comes from a lack of accountability, but I also think that it starts in your mind. Like I said, you are the only person standing in the way of your growth. But if you don't believe that you deserve what you're working towards, or if you don't believe that you can get it, then ultimately you're not going to put in the work, because you haven't cultivated the mindset that will allow you to grow. And I'll admit, like, sometimes those thoughts that we have about ourselves, that we're not good enough, can stem from the things that people have said to us, or maybe even the things that people haven't said to us. Maybe we don't see things inside ourselves because we haven't had that community of people, or we haven't had those people telling us that yes, you can do this, yes, I see this in the cards for you, yes, I see your potential. And it can be so hard when you have a big vision and a big goal and you feel like no one is really supporting you. You feel like you're going on this journey alone, and sometimes that can make it so much easier to make excuses, to self-sabotage, to tell yourself that it's not good enough, or it's not the right time, or it will come when it comes, because the fear of trying and failing is somewhat greater than the motivation or the courage that you need to actually put in the work. Another red flag that I don't think is talked about enough, or hardly even, is being too focused on yourself. And I know it sounds weird because we're talking about red flags and we're talking about our red flags. So why am I mentioning that being too focused on yourself is a red flag? So I've read this book. It's called The Purpose Driven Life. I'll probably speak about it in another video, but it kind of points out three elements or three aspects as it relates to purpose. And even like watching Think Like a Man, that the elements or the things that I'm gonna say was repeated in that video as well, in that movie as well, which I found quite interesting. And it has to do with like the whole purpose of life, so our reason for being. And there's three, why am I holding up 6 fingers? There's 3 reasons for your existence: love God, love yourself, and to love other people. I think a key element we often miss is loving other people. I think in this culture that we're in, we get so used to, or we get so enamored with the idea of loving ourselves and putting ourselves first, because for such a long time, women especially didn't really have the opportunity to put themselves first, just because circumstances or the world didn't allow them to do that. So I think in one breath, it's great that we have the opportunity now to recognize that self-care is important, that self-love is important. But I think sometimes we may be in danger of going to the other extreme where all we kind of care about is ourselves. I think it's very, very important that we think about our personal growth, where we want to go, and where the impact that we want to have on other people as well. It's not all about you. It's not all about other people either. You need to consider yourself. You need to put yourself first to an extent, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. But don't forget those don't forget those three groups of people. The reason for being to love God, to love yourself, and to love others, and to serve those three groups as well. Third red flag is quitting instead of pivoting. So I watched this video, or this reel, where Will Smith was doing like the voice, or whatever you want to call it, and he mentioned something that I found quite profound. He said, what did he say again? If I remember correctly, if I don't, I'll put in the audio or I'll put in the clip. Practice is a playground for failure. I'll say this for myself, calling myself out as I'm calling us out. I don't like failing. I do not like not being perfect at everything, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. I like to do things where I know I'm gonna get it, and I like to get it quickly, and when I don't, sometimes I beat myself up about it. No one likes to feel like they're trying their best and it's not good enough. That can do damage to your emotions. It can do damage to your self-esteem. It can do damage to your pride. I know, I've been there. I'm realizing that quitting shouldn't be our go-to when we buck up, when we encounter problems. Rather, it should be an assessment point. We fail and we look at it and we say, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is what I did wrong. This is how I'm going to improve. And to use a failure as a strategic move in your progression, in your growth. And I think that ties into the statement. Accountability, or the lack thereof. I think I've definitely learned throughout the course of this year that it's not good enough to say, this is my goal and in theory I'm going to accomplish it. No, like I said, it comes back to those little bits. It comes back to taking those small steps. It comes back to consistency. And consistency requires discipline. Discipline has to do with accountability. So how can you hold yourself accountable? How can we hold ourselves accountable? Because I can tell you, I am in that same boat. It was only last week that instead of exercising, I decided to find a new Netflix series to watch. So there's like a few things or tips that I can potentially touch on. So 3-2-1 rule, there's the 5-second rule that you guys may have heard about. It's like the same theory. You count to 5, you get up and you do it. Another tip, setting like alarms on your phone. So put an alarm on your phone for like almost everything that you have to do to get up, to exercise, to put down your phone and go to bed. And I will say, if you do have like a community of people that can hold you accountable, whether it's like a family member or a friend, let them help you and help them as well. So share your goals with them, get them to share their goals with you, and see how you guys can maybe check in on each other, whether it's a text message or a phone call, to say, oh, are you doing this? Oh, make sure you're doing this. Or just showing up together and doing it together. So if you're trying to be fit and you're trying to work out, get them to help you. Or maybe getting a friend that can come over and help you meal prep for the week, and then you share your meals. So just make sure you're putting things in place to help you do what you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it, because that is ultimately what is going to help you reach where you want to go. And the last thing I'll say, I feel like a hypocrite for this one, don't push yourself too hard. I know all the people that know me and are watching this video saying, oof, she's a hypocrite. because I don't know if it's the Jamaican in me, I don't know if it's the black woman in me, but I'm the type of person that pushes myself really hard. I'll give like 200% on almost everything I do, and I want it to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, I will do it until it's perfect. So I'm saying this to both of us. Don't push yourself too hard. I think sometimes we try to overcompensate for the areas that we fall short in. So maybe we self-sabotage, maybe we've binge watched a Netflix series instead of going to bed, or maybe we've eaten a donut or a whole pack of donuts in a day when we said we were going to start a diet like 2 days ago. And then because of that, we punish ourselves somewhat. So we say, oh, we're only going to eat a salad for the next week or the next month, or we're going to bed at 7 o'clock p.m. so that we don't watch any more Netflix series. Or you spent the day at work completing a task and it took really, really long, so now you're gonna come home and you're gonna put in like 2 more hours of work to compensate for the lack of productivity you experienced or that you had during the day. And it's hard to give advice when you're sitting in the same seat, when you're going through the same thing. But what I will say is, I'll give a quote from somebody that told me this a few weeks ago. Your life journey will never be complete. Your purpose will never come to an end, which means there will always be work for you to do. There will always be room for growth. There will always be tasks that need your attention. And pushing yourself and killing yourself to do everything now will only hurt you in the long run. I know sometimes we hear about entrepreneurs that lived on like 2 hours of sleep for months and months, and now they have like a 7-figure business. And if that's you, that is great for you. I commend you. That takes discipline, that takes drive, but that isn't for everybody. I don't think we should hold that as a standard. I think we should glorify rather the ability to juggle the different things that we have going on, and to have like a healthy work balance, to have time for relationships, to have time for hard work, to have time for entertainment and enjoyment. I think overall, if we're talking about personal growth and development, it's not just about the actions that you take, it's about your mindset and your character and your outlook on life. That can really help you to grow as well. So if you have the mindset that you're going to grind 24/7, and you're not being kind to yourself and you're not taking breaks, then that isn't going to stop, and eventually something is going to give. So as much as I'm going to look back at this video and say, baby girl, you need to do that, I'm saying it to you as well. Make sure that you're not punishing yourself. You do not need to be punished. There is nothing wrong with you. You are human. We make mistakes. We have shortcomings. We don't always do things perfectly. And I've also realized that when you do recognize or you find something that you're not perfect at, it's a good thing, because it's an opportunity for growth. Remember, can I finally get the quote right? Can I finally get the quote right? Practice is the playground for failure. Just recognize it as an opportunity to get back up and to smash it the next time. If you don't, then you can get up again and do it next time and practice and get better. Those are the red flags that I wanted to address. Going back over it very, very briefly. The red flags are, and I'm looking at my notes, lack of accountability, self-sabotage, focusing on yourself too much, and quitting instead of pivoting. I'd like you guys to let me know which one you're guilty of in the comments, or if you have like a red flag outside of the ones that I've shared, let me know in the comments as well. I really want this to be a community where we can be open and honest about our experiences and the things that we're going through and the things that we're struggling with, because ultimately I want to help you guys, but I'd also love if you guys could help me too, because like I said, none of us are perfect. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tap the bell notification. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Talking to both of us. Self-sabotage. Lord, please let me not sabotage this video and get tea all over my clothes. That will not be it.